Welcome, Namaste. Thank you for being here. Let's rest the palms on the thighs and enter this practice by gently closing the eyes. Bring your elbows back just a little bit to invite more opening in your chest. From the bottom of your pelvic floor, visualize the lift of your spine, that central axis, going against gravity, lightly lifting all the way up to the crown of the head, and from the crown of the head further up towards the skies. The lift that we create through the spine is not rigid or hard. It creates lightness and luminosity in the body, and it invites to find balance between the heavy bones in our bodies pulling us down and the lighter bones in our structure creating buoyancy and a lift. Invite your gaze to move in and down towards your lungs. And then touch into the rise and fall of your breath. Breathing softly through the nostrils. Try to bring awareness to the thread of the moment. Will bring a spirit of compassion and joy to this journey. And I want to share a very short piece from one of the compassionate teachers and meditation teachers that I follow, Jack Kornfield, wrote just a couple of days ago. And I find there's a lot of wisdom in it. It says, amidst the pandemic, the continuing racism and political divisiveness and the ongoing targeting of people of color, we must deliberately turn toward the difficulties of the world and shine the light of awareness and compassion. The enemy, said my teacher Ajahn Chah, is delusion. Delusion blames others, creates enemies, and fosters separation. The truth is that we are not separate. War, racism, economic injustice, and the climate crisis all stem from the illusion of separateness. We can also see that no amount of material and scientific advancement will solve our biggest problems. The truth is, these problems all arise in the human heart. Justice and economic and political renewal will fail unless we find a way to help people see our common humanity, our inseparable interconnection, and awaken a shared responsibility and a shared compassion for all. This is what we most need to stand up for in this troubled world. So today, may we use the body as the vessel for awareness, as the opportunity to move from suffering to release attachment and aversion and move closer to peace and joy, remembering and understanding that this practice is also our support to all beings, that we are all connected. Let's bring our palms together and rest them right in front of the heart center, taking a moment to set the intention for this practice, perhaps visualizing yourself in this journey, listening to your own body, to your breath, and bringing awareness and wisdom. Let's open with the Om sound, inhaling deeply through the nose, a big exhale through the mouth, then breathing in again. Then we connect the head, the hands, and the heart, the three together at the center for a moment. And releasing the palms, we return them to the thighs, lifting the head and opening the eyes. Welcome again. Thank you for being here. I'm moving towards the mat so we can start. And the first thing that we are going to do today as we start is to start with some heart and chest opening. So I'm going to take a block. It can be a book or a couple of books or a box if you don't have a block per se. And I'm going to put it medium height. I hope you can see it. So it's medium height on my mat. And sometimes, depending on what block or prop you have with you, it can be a little hard. So if you want, you can use a blanket on top of it to make it a little less hard, and you can test how that feels, okay? We're going to do different things, and we're going to change even the position of the block, okay? Or the support. So once I have that, I'm going to bring my shoulder blades, set it up, don't worry, find a way. If you don't have anything like this, it can be a pillow or maybe a foam roller or something like that that helps you like just rest your shoulder blades on top. Or you can even take your blanket and roll it and make like a sushi roll and just put your shoulder blades there. So I'm going to put my shoulder blades there, right, like I'm just showing, and then I'm going to lace my fingers and bring them behind the head. So I have a place where my head is resting and my elbows are open, okay? As you can see, my feet are pressing into the mat. And I'm just for starters letting my head drop into my hands, elbows open, and I'm going to take several breaths here, noticing just how this setup that we did is inviting the lungs to expand from the center out, the sides of your chest possibly feel like they are stretching a little bit more, the lines of your trunk up to your armpits and out to the elbows. We bring Ujjayi breath, nostril breathing as much as possible. And we let ourselves rest the head into the hands. Good, and then we are going to add a little bit of wiggling here. So maybe you lean a little bit more to your left. I started the left because it's closer to the camera, but you can go to the other side first if you want. Just leaning to one side and then the other, and noticing the differences as you just move sideways. A few times we're trying to a little bit informally go into different areas that may be a little bit compacted or constricted. So I'm just side opening one way and then the other. Go one more time each side. Good, and then as you come back, we are going to change this a little bit by bringing the elbows a little closer to one another and extending the elbows towards the back of your room or towards the back of your head, okay? So now we are aiming a little bit more of the side, trunk, and going a little bit more into the connection of the shoulder blades into one another. Letting the head drop a little bit more. Good, and then we reopen the elbows, letting the head rest. One more breath here. Good, and then I'm going to release my arms, putting the elbows down to push and come up, and I'm going to use my hands so I can come a little higher. Beautiful. Now, once you came up, we are going to change the position of that block, and now I'm going to make it flat. Okay, so before it was medium, now it's flat, and again, for me, I'm going to put that blanket on top because of the block being a little hard, and I'm going to make sure that I have space over my head so I can stretch my arms there and do a few things, okay? So now I'm going to come back again with my shoulder blades into that block, and this time my shoulders, I'm going to make sure that they are a little bit further back, right? Because it's just the shoulder blades and the back of the chest that are supported. And I want to make sure that my head is able to touch the floor, the mat, or a pillow. So if this setup that we have under the chest is too high for your head to come to the floor, then you're going to add a second blanket, or you can add, like I said, a pillow, a bolster, anything that's needed there, okay? So the head is not in the air, it is supported, and now I'm going to cross my shins one in front of the other, like if I'm doing the cross-legged seat, the easy seat, and then I'm going to send my arms up overhead, stretching again through the sides. And just for a moment, keep your palms facing up and stretch your fingertips and fingernails away from your pelvis. Feel that opening again through the arms. But it's coming from the pelvis up to the stomach, chest, all the way up to the fingers. One more breath. Good, and then we add a little extra with the palms still facing up. I'm going to tuck my fingers, like if I want to push into an imaginary wall behind me, and I'm going to try and bring my fingers a little further in towards my head. I'm going to make sure that my elbows are straight, and I'm going to push through the base of my hands or the wrists towards the wall that I have behind, okay? So I'm pushing, 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 and I'm creating a little bit more opening and activation in the armpits, all the way to the wrists. And I'm also stretching the fingers there a little bit. Good, and then we release the arms and we bring them to the sides just for a moment, letting the shoulders drop. They may not touch the floor, but they are dropping towards the floor and very close. Good, and then I'm going to bring my arms above me towards the ceiling, and I'm going to turn my right palm. I'm turning my arm externally and the palm is facing up, and with my left hand, I'm going to push it down. So I'm stretching here my wrist, right? And the arm is straight. I'm just pushing with my left hand, the right hand down. Inhale here and exhale. Good, and then we switch sides. I'm going to externally rotate my left arm. My right hand is pushing the hand down, and I'm stretching that wrist and pushing through the base of my palm up towards the ceiling. Good, we release that. Now I'm putting my palms together. They are kissing each other. And from here, I'm going to just stretch my right arm a little further up and then bring it down. And then I'm going with the left and then back. So what I'm doing is activating my shoulder blades and moving them away from the center of my body and then back. And then again, second side. And back. Try to keep the head relaxed, okay, without tensing the neck. Lifting that right side or the one side that you're doing now, and then back. You can see that I'm trying to not bend my elbows at all. And again, one side and the other for one more time. Good, and then the last one we do here that I've been doing in some of my groups this week, I'm keeping my palms touching and I'm keeping the elbows without bending, and I'm going to bring both my arms to the right while my chin comes to the left, then back to center, both arms to the left, chin to the right, then back to neutral. We go again, both arms to the right, and the chin to the left, returning, then again, and back. One more each side, both arms together. They don't have to go far. Just notice the range of motion for one side and the other. No tension, trying to just go with the flow without forcing. Good. From here, we release the arms again. Relax the arms a little, let the arms rest on the sides. Another big breath here. And then exhaling. Good. And then we slowly roll over to one side. We press up again. And now I'm going to take that blanket out if you had the support like I had. And I'm going to use my block again. This one is a little bit more intense, so you will need to really measure if this is appropriate for you. If not, you're going to just modify it with a flat block. I'll show you what is my intention to do. This one, the intention is really to open up the whole front chain of my body. So I'm going to come down like if I wanted to go into a bridge pose, even though we are not going to the bridge pose, but it looks very much like that. And I'm going to keep the block as tall as possible so I create more opening in the front. So watch it if you want first, and then you can decide if you want to do the same version or a modification of it. So with the tall block, I'm going to go all the way to my sacrum, and I kept the block this way, so my sacrum is right on top of that line, right? That the short side of the block. So there, it's forcing me, of course, to be more lifted and to open a little bit more through the chest. And now what I'm going to add to this challenge is that I'm going to go with one leg at a time. I'm going to try and catch one foot and turn it in. This can be intense. And the only thing that I'm doing while the other foot is grounded on the mat is to just let myself open the chest and press into the top of the foot, which is intense, like I just said, and just let that action start activating all the opening in that side, okay? So this is the idea. So it's like a bridge pose, but it's truly meant to open the front. And that's why it's needed to be tall, so you can put that foot a little under, but you can try and do it in the medium height, and you can just lift the knee a little bit and just put the toes like I'm doing, just touching with the toes, if this feels like it's too much, okay? So I'm going to take a few breaths here as you set up or you try to come more or less into a version of these. My lungs again, they are expanding. And you are taking that foot not extremely far, right? I'm not forcing it to come all the way to my chest. I'm just going a little bit on top of that foot and letting it be, because we are not used to doing this one all the time, so it may feel a little bit too much sometimes, okay? The same amount of breaths that you take on one side and will take for the second side. So I'm going to gently release the first side. That was the one that I wanted to show you, so I started on my left, and then I'm going to change into my second side. And I'm doing pretty much the same. I'm tucking my toes, right? So the top of my foot is pressing onto the mat, the sticky, and then just leaving it there as I breathe, opening that chain on the front. And for some of us, some people will feel it more in the hip flexors, some people will feel it more in the hips, perhaps a little bit of pulling in the hamstring. So notice where it's going, and there should not be any sharp pain at all, okay? A couple more breaths. I'm using this opportunity to also tuck my shoulder blades a little bit closer to one another, like in the bridge pose, to create again that opening and reversing the rounding in the upper back. And then I'm going to slowly take that second foot out. Then very gently and gradually, I'm going to relift my pelvis, activating my glutes to take that block out to the side, and then slowly return to the mat. Stay there for a moment, because this was also kind of like a big back bend to start. So I'm going to widen my feet, and I'm going to let both my knees drop to the left, releasing my arms to the sides, taking a deep inhalation here. And exhale through the nose. And then slowly I'm coming back to the neutral, and I'm going to switch sides. My feet are wide. I'm letting both my knees drop to the right. And again, another deep inhalation through the nose. Exhaling, steady, fluid. And then we return with both feet touching down, bringing ourselves back to the mat. Hug both knees into the chest and rock a little bit from side to side. You can take a few circles if you want with the legs to create a little bit more of a massaging action in the back of the pelvis, and then reverse it a few times. Good. Okay, from here we are going to extend one arm overhead so we can turn ourselves again to the side and push up slowly to come to the hands and knees position. So now we are going to come to the tabletop, and I'm going to make sure that my shoulders are right above my wrist and that my pelvis is over the knees. And as I do this, I want to really make sure that I start working with my glutes and my pelvis, so I keep that area neutral and I can activate more of the upper back and the other areas in the body, right? The pelvis is monumental in how we move in our bodies. So the more we, I'm going to say, move from there and we arch or tilt a lot, the less opportunity we are giving our other areas in our bodies to expand or create more opening. So we want to firm that area a little bit more than the usual, and then lengthen through the crown of the head. And like I said, as I'm firming my pelvis, I want us to start with a cat-cow that is meant to be for the shoulder blades. So instead of doing my arching and rounding in the whole spine, which we'll do later, I want us to try and do it in the shoulder blades. So what I'm going to do is first push the mat and widen the upper back, like fanning, let's say, the shoulder blades, and then let them drop. It's like the center of your sternum is dropping towards the mat. And then push the mat away again to widen those blades, and then release them or let them drop. So the sternum again is coming towards the mat. And then again, push the mat, lift, widen those wings, and then exhale, release. One more, pushing the mat, widening the upper back, and then exhale, release. You see how I'm leaving my elbows without bending, right? So I'm really activating that upper body. Good, now let's do our usual. So now my pelvis is going to move more, right? I'm going to inhale, lengthening this front spine, sacrum up, shoulder blades down, chin up a little. With the exhale, I'm rounding the upper back again, bringing the navel in, chin to the heart. Let's go again, inhaling, exhale. Two more. Go with your breath at your own pace. Notice the sensations in your whole body as you flow with the movement and the breath as one. Interconnected, without tensing the face. Good, and then we return to center, And we keep again the activation of the glutes and the pelvis. And from here, we are going to extend the right leg back, and I'm going to press with my toes onto the mat. So I'm just creating more activation into the right glute, the right quad, and I'm pushing through that heel to feel the front of the leg hugging the bones, okay? Just that, push through the right heel, draw the navel up, push your mat, lengthen through the crown of the head. Good, and then let's add a little more by lifting that right heel off the mat, or right toes off the mat just a few inches. I don't want to tilt my pelvis like we did in the cat-cow. So again, draw that navel up, push through the right heel, lengthen through the front spine, and see if you can add to that the left arm coming off the mat and stretching through those fingertips. Draw the belly up, keep the hips firm into one another, and then slowly release. Good, let's go with the second side. Left toes pressing into your mat. Draw the muscles into the bones. Draw the navel up towards your nose. Feel the burning or starting to warm up that left quad into the bones. Then I'm lifting that left foot off the mat. Keep the left hip facing down, draw the belly up, and send your right arm forward. Push the mat away with your right knee and left hand, and then we slowly come back and release, shake it a little. Beautiful. Okay, we go again working with the pelvis and the glutes. I'm going to send my right leg up and back. This time, again, firming those hips into one another, pelvis neutral, bend your right knee. Good. Now I'm going to make a big effort into activating that glute, and without tilting or arching my pelvis, I'm going to send that right knee up and down. It's just a little up and down. 3 more. Up, down, up, down. Activating your core, up, down. Beautiful. Now I'm going to send the left arm to the front, and I'm going to try and go and catch that foot if possible. If not, no. Pushing the foot into the hand and trying to lift that right knee a little. I'm activating those glutes again, drawing the pelvis up, and then re-extend and release. Good. Shake it a little. Second side. Draw the abdomen up. Zip up that belly button towards your nose. We send the left leg up and back. Push the mat through the hands. Good. Keep the pelvis neutral, hips firming in. Bend the left knee. Good. Now it's the left glute that we are working a lot more, okay? So up and down. Up and down. Keep the hips firm. 3 more. Good. And 1 more. Good, stay there, firm the hips in again, draw the navel up, send the right arm forward, and then back. See if you can catch that foot, push the foot into the hand, opening the chest. Good, then slowly release, and take the hand and the knee down and shake it a little. Good, super, and then from here we are going to widen the knees and we are going to bring the sitting bones towards the heels. Let's take a moment in child's pose. Return to your breath. An opportunity as we bow to dedicate this practice to whoever may come to mind. And me in particular today, I'm dedicating this journey of all of us as a community to all people suffering, trying to send our energy of peace and the understanding of the interconnectedness between all beings. Good, then after the next full breathing cycle, We'll slowly press up and keeping the shape of the child's pose. I'm going to keep my left forearm down and I'm going to put my right hand behind my head. And we are going to work on the thoracic spine, a little bit more of the opening here. So I'm pressing through the left forearm, right hand, like I said, behind the head. I'm going to inhale and twist to the right. Exhale, come down to face the hand or the mat. And again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Two more. Last one. Good. Release that right forearm. Let's switch sides. Left hand behind the skull. And I'm pressing the skull into the hand. So the head is not dropping and the chin is not into the chest, right? So my chin is off my chest. I'm pressing into that right forearm 5 times. We inhale and come back. Go with your breath, 3 more. My head is still pushing into my hand, so it's resisting. Last time. Good, then release. Beautiful. Let's extend our hands to the edges of your mat and grip or grab your mat from the sides. And we are going to push that mat away, right? So I'm extending through the arms and I'm going to bring an external rotation in those upper arms. The fact that I'm holding the mat from the sides already is making my upper arm bones rotate externally. So we are giving a little bit of extra help to do that. I'm pushing my mat away and then from there I'm going to lift into the tabletop, move my knees a few inches behind my hips, tuck the toes, bring them towards the edges of your mat so it's a wide stand. And then from there I'm going to start lifting into my downward facing dog. This one is a little bit modified, right? Because of my hands being wide and my feet as well. I'm bending my knees first and sending my chest towards the thighs. Then from there, I'm going to let my head drop, my neck become long. And slowly, I'm going to start pedaling 1 foot at a time. Just to start feeling a little bit more opening through the backs of the legs. Good. And we always want to find the sacrum as the apex of the posture. So I'm trying to send my coccyx really high up. And then whenever you can, or when you feel ready, we are going to slowly start activating the fronts of the legs towards the back of your mat. Trying to keep those sitting bones high, drawing the pelvic floor up and the ribs down. Firm your hips into one another. Take another deep breath here. Good. And then before we come down, notice your shoulder blades and don't force them to move back towards your tail, but notice if there is a normal or a usual action of letting the shoulder blades drop into your neck. So see if you can push them a little bit behind towards the back of your body, okay? And then slowly bring your knees down. Come back to a seat for a moment, sitting on your heels. If you can bear with sitting on your heels, stay there for a moment. If not, put a pillow or a block in between or something that is padding you. And we are going to bring the arms in front, lace your fingers, press your palms away from your chest. Extend through the fingers and the base of your palms. Let's send the arms up. Good. Once you're there, notice the sitting bones. Let them drop into your heels. Side body long. Inhale. Exhale. Release the arms. Good. And now we are going to lace the fingers behind the lower back, but I'm also going to add another extra by tucking my toes and sitting onto my heels. If this is extremely challenging and it's not for you today, take a block or a pillow and put it in between your sitting bones and your heels. It makes it much easier. It's still working the same actions that we want to work, and it's teaching are structured to get used to this, which is super beneficial for your lower back. Okay, so from here, I said we lace the fingers behind the lower back, we roll the shoulders, and imagine you're bringing your shoulders up to your ears, which is what we usually don't want to do, but first bring them up so we lift a little bit more into the side body, and then send the shoulders back and down and extend through the arms. Lifting through the sternum and feeling that chest also lifting up and expanding. Sit onto those heels if you can, or with the prop in between. Last breath. Good, and then we release that, untucking the toes. Bring your hands to the regular space that you put them for a downward facing dog. I usually like to spin my fingertips just 1 millimeter towards the sides of the mat to give more opening into the collarbones. Tuck your toes, and let's go up into our usual down dog with the feet hip distance apart. Good, from there, push the mat away. Again, we try to bring the chest towards the thighs first, and then we draw the navel up, the ribs down, hips in. Let's go from here into plank pose, slowly coming to the top of a push-up, and then slowly going back to down dog. Again, we inhale towards the plank, and we exhale towards down dog. One more. Inhaling to plank, draw the navel up, lengthen through the crown of the head, exhale to down dog, press the center of your heels down to your mat, even if they don't touch. Good, and then we're going to try and walk the feet towards the hands, using that core. Good, drop the torso down. You can bend your knees if you need, relaxing the neck and the head. Good, now pushing to the center of your heels, the base of your big toes and pinky toes. The inner arches are lifted. Bring your hands into your hips. Roll the shoulders back, lengthen the spine, heart up, and we come up to standing. We take Tadasana, releasing the arms to the sides. Beautiful. From here, I'm going to come this way so you can see me, and I'm going to mirror you guys. We are going to keep the feet hip distance apart, press into the base of the big toe mounts and pinkies and the center of your heels. Lift from the arches up into your inner thighs and feel the pelvis again. So notice if it is tilted backwards or forward, and see if you can find a neutral place, drawing the belly, the lower abdomen up and the sacrum down. Now we're going to inhale, arms up overhead, and I'm going to mirror you guys. So the right arm is going to go in front of the left arm, and then I'm going to make my palms touch. Okay, so first I cross, right arm in front, and then I'm putting my palms together and bringing my arms up. And my ears are kind of trapped in between my upper arms. So I'm trying to bring my arms as far back as I can. I'm pressing my palms into one another. Don't lose the power of your base from there, lifting up. Good, and then we are going to tilt towards the right. Trying to send the chest up to the ceiling. Firming the hips in, draw the sacrum down, glutes forward. And then we return. Keep the arms as they are, same thing. Lengthen, and we go the other way. Pressing into the center of the heels. Lift the energy up from the pelvic floor. Then we come back. Good, slowly release the arms. Good. We'll go again and we'll change the arms. Inhaling, arms up overhead, one more time. This time the left arm will go in front, and again I'm going to put my palms together, arms up. Good, feel that stretch in the sides of your trunk. Inhaling. This time we go to the left first. Chest up a little, firm the hips and the glutes. Slowly coming back. Nice, last side. Side body opening, chest lifting towards the skies, drawing the core up, and the glutes always working. As we come back, good, release it. Beautiful, let's go from the top of the mat. We inhale, arms up overhead, and with the exhale, I'm going to take the chair pose with the arms out to the sides like the cactus shape, okay? My feet are hip distance apart, so that's good. You don't need to go super far down if that feels like it's too much, but yes, put the weight of your body onto your heels, then bring the sides of your shoulder blades back, lift the sternum, draw the belly up, and keep sending those elbows back. Good, let's go a little further if we can. Keep lifting through the center of the chest. One more breath. Good, inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, we fold. Inhaling halfway. Good, and then exhale, right leg goes back, right knee comes down. Good, let's bring the hands onto the left thigh. First, firm the hips in, pelvis neutral. Once you have that, inhaling, arms up overhead, we hook the thumbs this time, and we extend through the sides. Good, now again, we create two different actions energetically. My arms are moving up towards the skies, lifting from the waistline. My sacrum is moving down. My navel is lifting towards the nose. Good, now I'm going to let this shape go a little further. So I'm going to let my hips shift forward. And even though I'm doing that, I'm still trying to create as much of a neutral pelvis as I can. So I want to send that sacrum down, draw the belly button up, and then I'm sending my chest a little further up and back. One more breath. Then exhale, release, putting the hands down, framing the front foot with my right hand on all the way to the edge of the mat or right outside the mat. You can put a block there. We're going to twist to the left, rolling the shoulders back. I'm going to lean a little further back, and I'm going to add a modification to this twist that we usually do like this. So I'm going to firm my hips into one another, and I'm going to turn my left palm forward towards the right, and I'm going to try and bring that arm over my head towards the right. So it's a combination of a twist and a side opener. So I'm going to the side and I'm still sending the belly and the chest up. Make your left hip heavy. So make it go down to the floor so you feel all of that stretch from the hip all the way to the fingernails. Good, then we return, we come back, and we go to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up and back. Bring your right knee to the chest, plank pose. Push the mat and lift the knee up. Then send that right leg up and back again. Right foot forward, left knee comes down. Good, we are switching sides. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Here we just stretch the arms again. Draw that belly button up, sacrum down, opening the sides. Good, then exhale, release, bring the left foot forward and fold. Pressing to the feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhaling, we come to center and release. Beautiful, let's go with the second side. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhaling, we fold. Inhaling, Urdva, halfway up, draw the belly up, shoulders back. Exhale, left leg back, left knee comes down. Good, and then we are coming with the hands on top of that right thigh. Push the thigh just a little bit so you create more lifting the sides of the body. And think, bring the brain to the pelvis and your glutes. The glutes should be active 99% of the time because that supports your spine and helps that core keep building, okay? So I'm activating the glutes and sending the sacrum long to the earth. Just by doing that, I feel the opening in my left hip flexor. So I'm hoping you also feel that. And then I'm firming my hips in as I'm drawing the belly button up. Let's send the arms up overhead. Hook your thumbs if you remember which one you did first before, switch that. Extend through the arms. Keep firming the hips and make the right hip heavy, so don't let it lift, send it down. Good, and then from there, we are going to let the hips shift forward. And again, I'm going to draw that belly button up. This time I'm sending the chest a little further up and back. Sacrum long, glutes active. Then I'm coming back to center, releasing my hands. Left hand to the left side of your mat all the way to the edge or right off the mat. And then from there, I'm going to twist to the right. First, we start with the regular twist. And from there, I'm just going to send the shoulders back, lift that abdomen up to the ceiling, the chest up to the ceiling. I don't have a lot of space because I have my wall here, but then we are going to add that second version of keeping that right hip moving down and then sending that right arm up and over the head towards the left side. Left shoulder back, opening up belly and chest towards the skies. It's almost like a side angle shape, but it's also a twist. Good, then we release, right hand down, and we go back to downward facing dog. Then we inhale, left leg up and back. Left knee to the chest, push the mat away, bring that knee up to your nose. Then re-extend, left leg up and back. Left foot forward, right knee comes down. We switch sides. Last part, inhale, arms overhead, hook your thumbs, lengthen through the sides, open up through the chest. Exhale, right foot forward and fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale. Come all the way up. Urdva Dhanurasana, arms overhead. And we exhale to center and release. Take 2 or 3 breaths in Tadasana. I'm moving a little bit away from the wall. Good. Just settle the breath. Feel your base. Take a moment here. An opportunity to not only return to the connection with your breath, but also touch into that rise and fall and your intention. Good. Very nice. Good. From here, we are going to use the length of the mat, and if you have the blocks or some kind of support, bring them close by so you can use them. So we are going to widen our legs, and we are going to make our feet be parallel to one another, pressing through the outer edges of your feet. We are going to do a few versions here as we fold, and we invert a little bit, and we add some other stuff to it, okay? So first, it's very important that we apply the same principles of Tadasana to this shape, which means that we want the center of the heels to be pressing down, like pinning into your sticky mat, lifting your inner arches, pressing into the base of your big toe and the base of your pinky toe, so we create a lot of lift through the center up into your inner legs and your pelvis. And again, we are activating the glutes as usual, 99% of the time, and we draw the abdomen up, firming the hips in, okay? Let's just stay here for a moment with the arms out. We are going to inhale here. With the exhale, cross your right arm over the left and take the eagle arms. And we are going to inhale and lift the arms up a little. And with the exhale, we are going to just try and fold a little bit. It's not a lot. Over, like if you're coming into a tabletop. And then again, inhaling, lift. Exhale, coming towards that tabletop. Press into the outer edges of the feet, draw the belly up. One more, inhale. Exhale. We inhale, we come up. We exhale and release. And we'll go again, second side. Inhaling, arms out. Exhale, now the left arm goes in front or on top, and we take the eagle arms. If this is not possible, hands to shoulders, okay? And again, 3 times. We inhale, we lift. Power the legs, power the feet, spread the toes. Exhale. 2 more. Inhaling. Draw the sacrum down. Exhale. 1 more. We come back up. Exhale and release. Beautiful. Now we send the arms out again, and we are going to turn the palms up. So I'm externally rotating the arms, and I'm going to send those arms as far back as I can. Okay, so feel that action in the shoulder blades. They are coming towards each other. Keep that action. Lift through the sternum. Send the glutes towards the front of your pelvis. Good. And then we're going to try and keep that opening in the upper arm bones and bring the hands into your hips. Now roll those shoulders up and back and down. The shoulder blades are touching each other at the very end of the bottom tips, right? So they are like kissing each other, lifting the sternum. Keep that. And then we start folding. And we'll go this time a little further. Press again into those inner heels. Lift the inner arches. And then we'll bring the hands down under the shoulders. You can put the blocks I'm showing or demoing so you have extra support there if you need it, okay? Lengthen your sternum forward. Draw the navel up to the nose. Push your blocks or support away. Send the shoulders back. And imagine a little bit of a tug of war between your hips moving back and the heart moving away from your belly. Push into the outer edges of the feet. 1 more breath. Good. And then if you have the props like I'm showing, I want you to just, or without, I want you to just turn your fingers out and back so they are pointing towards your toes. So now I turn my palms, right? You see I'm doing an external rotation. My fingertips are pointing towards the back of my mat. And again, I'm lifting the heart forward, pushing my mat away. And then with your blocks or without, you're going to walk yourself towards the back of your mat. I'm going to show it without the blocks, but I'm going backwards and I'm walking, 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 walking until I can release the head. If you want, you can use 1 or 2 of your support for the forehead or the crown of the head and have a little extra support there. I'm just walking my fingers and hands and arms as far as I can go, releasing the head, making my neck long. I'm still working a lot through my inner arches, spreading the toes. And then I'm slowly walking back. Good, 1 more here. Again, I'm going to use my block, 1 or 2, and I'm going to put my right hand on top of that block. This time my fingers are pointing forward. I'm pressing into the feet again, like we've been all along. Push that block away. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Roll the shoulders back and start sending the belly and the chest up towards the ceiling. Can you keep your pelvis neutral? Here it's going to try and move a lot. So you may not twist a lot. I'm going to make it more contained. My hips are staying firm. My pelvis stays in place and it's mostly the chest and the belly. So it's not a lot. And then if you want, you can add the arm or just stay with the left hand onto the hip. I'm going to stay with the hand onto the hip because it helps me manage my pelvis better so it's not tilting too much, okay? So draw the belly up and just the chest and the belly moving to the side. It won't be a big move, don't worry, okay? I'm not twisting a lot. Good, and then return. We switch sides. Now I'm putting my left hand onto the block. Left hand for you, and we're going to put the right hand onto the hip, Okay, now again, I'm touching the back of my pelvis. I want to keep it as neutral as possible, drawing my belly up, lengthening through the front spine, and then keeping that, rolling the shoulders back. Just my belly and my chest, they are moving towards the right. So less of the hips, less of the pelvis, and more of the belly and the chest. It's kind of a bummer because you may feel, oh man, I cannot twist so much, but that's the aim, that we are twisting less, but we are activating the thoracic spine way more than the usual. When we go with the hips, it's much easier to twist, like I'm showing, right? I'm going with my hips and I can go much further, but then I'm not really creating more space and activation of the upper back, which is what I want this week, which I've been doing, okay? Good, then slowly release that. Put the hands onto the hips. Wait, no, put the hands down. Walk your feet a little closer to one another. Good. And then from here, we are going to just open the toes out and come towards a squat. And put the arms inside your legs. And if you need to roll a blanket under the heels, you can do that. Just relax the hips. Press into your legs to lift the spine. We take a few breaths here. One more breath. Good, and then we slowly bring the hands behind and we sit down unless you have some support underneath. First you take it out and you bring your legs in front, shake them a little. Good, okay. From here, if you want to have something underneath your sitting bones, you can add it for extra support. I'm going to now widen my legs. So it's like what we were doing when we were standing, but this time we are sitting. And I'm going to use my hands behind so I can help myself roll the shoulders back and down, lift through the sternum again. And I want to push through my heels. And I'm going to try and not let my knees drop in. So I want to actually create a little bit of the opposite effect. My outer thighs are kind of like grounding down towards the floor. Okay, it's not intense, but I want to make sure that that side doesn't become like sleepy. Okay, so I'm pressing into the outer line of my legs, and I'm sending them down to earth. I'm pushing through the heels, and now I'm lifting the sides of my torso, rolling the shoulders back, and lifting through the sternum. Relax the face. Keep the chin off the chest just a bit. Good. And then if you want, you add extra props for you, and we're going to bring the hands in front. If you usually have rounding in the upper back, I recommend staying tall and trying to build the muscles in the mid back and upper back by just lifting, 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 okay? If you are okay and you don't have issues in that sense, then you can walk yourself a little further. Can you do that while still keeping the back side? I'm pointing to the back side of my legs, coming down to the earth instead of rotating in and dropping into the floor. So check your knees and check your heels, and then you go as far as it goes for today. I want to come and check some of you, so stay there. Some of you that I can see. Perfect, Brian, that's great. Good. So we always go where we feel it's appropriate without pushing or forcing, right? Nothing to do with that. We don't need it. Hi, Pat. There, okay. Beautiful. This is a lot of work now in the legs, but the work of the legs is supporting the lift in your whole spine and the opening in the chest. Everything is interconnected. Okay? And Pat has a birthday today. Oh my God, we are going to sing. Okay, so last breath there. And then slowly walk yourself back. Good. We are going to end this with bringing our feet together and the center of the heels pressing into one another. You can either strap yourself or put the hands on your feet. And in this one, yes, a pass to all of us to let our backs round. So we are going to hold the center of the heels into one another, widen your inner legs. So from your groins, let the inner thighs move out. And then you slowly, even using your elbows if you want a little bit onto your legs or not, or adding extra support if you want underneath, like I'm demoing there. We are going to lengthen the spine first and then let yourself drop. 4 breaths here. Long and steady. Good, and then we slowly bring ourselves up. Okay, this week I've been doing that I want to show you today in some of my groups. Some of you may have seen it already. A really nice modification of a shoulders, not shoulder stand. It's a bridge pose, but it has a lot of elements of the shoulder stand. So I find it interesting and a little different because it gives us another opportunity to open up and work all this opening that we've been doing. But for that we need 2 blocks or something that resembles blocks and a baseboard of any kind. Maybe it's the end of a dresser that you have, or the back of a sofa, or a wall if you have a little piece of wall. So I'm going to show it. If this is not possible for you because there's no space at all, then you are going to take a regular bridge pose, okay? I'm going to demo the one that is a little bit modified with the 2 blocks being held by my baseboard so they don't move. That's mainly what we want, that the blocks are not moving. So you want to put them into a wall or a sofa or something that is going to hold them, or the back of your bed, okay? And once I have that, I'm going to put both my feet on top of those blocks. So the blocks are hip distance apart, okay? That's all you need. The distance of your hips and the blocks onto the wall. And I'm showing the whole thing, and then you can do it after if you want. Then I'm coming onto my back, like when I'm going to go into my bridge pose. But this is going to give us more height, right, as we press into the blocks, and it's going to help us open up a little more. We are not going to move the head once we go up. I'm just explaining, so I tend to go towards the camera. But I'm going to tuck my shoulder blades in towards one another, and even my shoulders a little bit in behind my chest, okay? A lot of power into my feet, a lot of power into my glutes. Like I said before, 99% of the time they are active. And then I'm going to, of course, activate my hips and my core, right? So from there, even with my elbows, I'm going to push and lift into my bridge pose. I'm pushing into my blocks. Of course, the wall is helping me support. And I'm going to use my hands right behind as I'm using my elbows as stands. Okay, so I'm hooking again my elbows as far in as I can, shoulder blades towards one another. This is super good practice for a wheel pose as well. And I'm just lifting and opening through the chest. Okay, so if you want to do this one, use the support of the wall or whichever it is, the prop that you have, and then use this to lift, shoulder blades in, feel that sternum lifted. My glutes are super active, so it doesn't dump into my lower back. And I'm sending my sacrum in, lifting through the hips. Hamstrings active. Push the feet into the blocks and make the inner heels be active. One more breath. Or 2 if you just came up. If not, the regular bridge pose with the opening in the chest as usual and the same actions. And then we release through the arms and very gently we come down to the mat. Stay there for a moment. Take a deep breath in and out. Okay. I know there's several different levels today in the class. If you feel like this opening and this activation of the legs after what we did already in the class feels like empowering to try a wheel pose, then you get out of the blocks, unless you want to use the blocks, which is another good idea. And you can bring your hands behind the shoulders and go from there and try the full lift. You don't have to do it because it's a little bit more intense and advanced, so no need to do that if you don't want, but it can be a fun way if you want to try and go a little further. Okay? So this will be an elevated wheel pose with my feet on the blocks, and I'm pushing the mat, and it's helping me create a lot of opening in the chest. Just demoing, but then from there, you will come down and you will rest. If you're not doing any of that, just wait for a moment. You're going to bring your knees into the chest. Good, and then we're going to roll onto the side so we can push ourselves up away from the wall so we can do something else, okay? So we'll come back onto our backs and cross one shin over the other, like sitting cross-legged, and then we catch the feet and we bring them into the body. So I'm pushing gently my feet in. That will give you some release in the lower back. Breathe into the back of your belly. Softening the face. Beautiful. Let's go into the second side. Cross the opposite shin on top. Bring the feet into you. This is a really nice way to settle the lower back. After that back bend, stay there for 3 breaths. Good. And then your choice, as we move closer to the end, to cross right leg over the left one, like the eagle legs, and drop both legs to the left, opening the arms to the sides. If that feels like it's a little bit too intense, just both knees together, bend towards the right side. And then you switch and you go to the opposite side with both legs again together, okay? So a twist of your choice. Then switch sides, bringing the legs back to center. If you didn't do so, going on to the second side. Beautiful. Let the arms rest to the sides. Usually we take the chin to the opposite side of the legs, unless your neck is not being cooperative today. Good. And then slowly returning. Okay, as I've been doing in my classes in the last month or so, as usual, an opportunity to take your Shavasana with your legs up a wall. If you have, again, any kind of support that represents maybe a tall bed, maybe the back of a sofa or a dresser, you can just put your legs up and have them supported for the rest of the practice. If you don't have anything like that, just today come towards your mat, supine, rest your arms to the sides, and we'll come to the end of this journey, okay? We'll come to the opportunity to surrender, to soften, to integrate the benefits of this practice into our bodies, our minds, our hearts. we return to stillness, the source of everything. Receive a deep inhalation through the nose, big exhale through the mouth. Stay calm in the face and the eyes as you slowly return to your body and the room you're in. Wiggle fingers, move your toes. Add gentle movement as you feel appropriate. And as you add a little more, maybe your wrist, your hands, your feet. Slowly make your way as you feel ready to one side and then towards a seat to mark the end of this journey together. Finding the support to release your base and find that buoyancy to lift and feel light, soft and steady at the same time. We bring the palms together, joining the altar of the heart in gratitude for this practice, to all our teachers, and the opportunity to use our bodies as a vessel to bring awareness, to listen to our own wisdom, our own teacher, and to move closer to our own divine essence. Let's close with the Om sound, inhaling first. Big exhale, then breathing in again. Om. Thank you. Namaste.